This Hangout on Air is live. What's up, everybody? This is I like looked at the title at the top. It says requests only. It's Sound Booth Theater live requests only. Thank you guys for coming. I can see there's already a bunch of people in the chat talking. Let's see how many people are actually 14 people watching at the very beginning of the stream. This is very good. Thank you guys for coming. And I'm sure this is very much in part because of Bonnie pimping it out to everybody that she knows. So thank you, Bonnie, for bringing everybody here. We have 3 requests today, as always. 3 requests. I limit it to that because I don't have all the time in the universe. I wish I could do more per episode, but because I have so much fun with you guys, but got to keep it limited. So our 3 requests today, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share. So be prepared to fall into this vortex of screen sharedness. Okay, so our first request today is going to be Freehaven Online. Freehaven Online Dragonsbane, a LitRPG adventure by June Prince. Say hello, June.
Hello.
He is here with us today to talk about his book. Why don't you give us a little synopsis of what your book's about and what made you want to write it?
Well, it is a lit RPG where we have our protagonist whose brother died some years ago, and she just regains access to his account. And so she's decided that she wants to reforge his guild and try to complete a legendary guild quest in his honor to keep his memory alive. There's lots of action. There's a little bit of emotional drama in there, and I tried to find a balance of both when writing this novel. As for why, I'd been toying with the idea of a game world novel for quite a long time. I knew that lit RPG was a thing. So yeah, and it's something I'd wanted to do for a while, and I just decided to go ahead and do it, and now we have Dragonsbane.
Okay, so I haven't. I apologize. I haven't done as much research as I should have, but I'm wondering if this is your first novel or is this just your first lit RPG?
This is my first lit RPG. My first novel was a urban fantasy book about the Korean entertainment industry.
Wow, cool.
And yeah, so that was The Beautiful Dead. And then Freehaven 2 is on pre-order now, hoping to get that out in the next 2 to 5 weeks. Even though it says September, I'm going to push it out early as soon as it's ready.
Oh, wonderful. All right. So yeah, you've been busy. And when did you say the Beautiful Dead came out? Last year?
That was last year. I think September.
A Tale of K-pop Ghosts and Nine-Tailed Foxwomen. Okay. I think you have some crossover here with the lit RPG crowd. But yeah, cool. So you went from urban fantasy. It seems like a relatively common switch to go from urban fantasy to lit RPG. It seems like a lot of interests are combined there.
Well, I mean, both genres, you have different kinds of creatures that you encounter. You have fantasy races in RPG, and then depending on what kind of RPGs you play, you have some of the same races in urban fantasy. You see that more in the later Freehaven novels, but yeah, I mean, there's some. I'd say that there's also a bit of crossover with science fiction as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, so that's going to be our first read today. Our second read is going to be Deck of Souls by Bonnie Price. Looks like this reminds me of the Alice in Wonderland cover. That's got to be what that is, right? Like I think that like she cut it out and made a silhouette out of it. But yeah, we will talk to Bonnie next after we're done with this this reading of June Prince's Dragonsbane. And then we'll actually have Lori Catherine Winkle on to read that for us. I'll be doing the male voices, but she'll take over narration since it is first person female. And then after that, we're moving on to The Dead Rogue, an NPC's Path, book number 1 by, all right, is this Pavel Kornev? Pavel Kornev? I'm not very good at pronouncing foreign language names. I think that's Russian, right? Pavel? And it looks really interesting. I love this cover. And uh-oh, someone is inappropriately calling me during my stream. How dare you, sir? So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. And right, for now, let's move on to Dragonsbane. So June sent me a script with character notes and name pronunciations. Let's see. Melpomene, Sedine, Mire. Okay. Where's the accent? Mire or Mire?
Mire.
Mire. Okay.
And Melpomene and Sidine.
Oh, Melpomene. Okay, gotcha. Sedine. All right. Melpomene, female, smart, confident, proud, a bit of a peacock when she's taking in cheers in the arena. Mire, younger sounding, female, optimistic personality, Taco's boyfriend. Taco, male, smartass. Okay. Astram, old grandfatherly half elf, fond of Melpomene. Melpomene. Mene.
Melpomene.
Melpomene. Yeah, Melpomene. Okay. Setup. This is a single combat tournament, mixed PvE and PvP. Bite, an electrified staff that does lightning damage. Melpomene's signature weapon. Why am I not remembering that one? And that's it. Okay, anything else about this particular scene that you want to tell people about?
It's just it's a tournament, and these are 2 of the single combat battles. First against an NPC, then we have a PC that.
So wait, say that last part again. You got kind of cut off.
There's first NPC opponent, and then there's a PC opponent that she's facing.
Okay. All right. Well, here goes. And let me close this. Get rid of some of the reverb so you guys can get into it a little bit more. Oh, by the way, I'm trying to, this has been sitting, this bottle of Blue Label that Dave Wilmarth got me has been sitting for a while. I've been like waiting for a special or occasion to drink it, but I think Charles was telling me that it will continue to oxidize after you've opened it. I'm not really sure how that works when you have a cork cap, but maybe he's right, so I should drink it. So cheers, y'all. Still delicious. All right, here goes. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. The main character, the person whose perspective it is this a male or who is it?
So Mel, she's a woman.
Okay, so the main character is also female.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Well, I would have had Lori do this one too, but oh well. We'll do my female narration, and then on the next one it'll be Lori's narration.
All right.
Okay, Astram. Not going to happen. This is my new style's debut. Astram motions to me, and I say, "It looks like I'm up." I miss the introduction, because I'm the second one to enter the arena. I can't even see my opponent's face because his helm's closed, but he's got cool armor. Onyx black, trimmed in royal blue. He's got magic pauldrons that make his shoulders look like they're on blue fire. He has no shield, just a sword, and I'm willing to bet that this is a magic user. Well, isn't that special? Name's Sedine by the nameplate. I bow to him from my spot in the dirt, and he returns the gesture. Let's see, and is this the 3-2-1? Is this like a booming announcer voice?
It's a game prompt.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like an overlay on the
Gotcha.
screen.
Gotcha. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Shadow step, rank 5. Success. I appear behind him, but as soon as I'm there, his whole body flicker flashes, and suddenly he's standing where I started. He waves his sword in an intricate gesture, and suddenly 2 additional images of my opponent appear on either side of him. All 5 run around each other in a fast circle. If I'm lucky, only one of those things is solid. If not, my opponent just made 4 copies of himself. I charge in for the attack, spinning bite, and coming down hard on the center image. It explodes in a harmless shower of magic sparks. A sword cuts me, or at least it tries to, but flow like water kicks in. Flesh and bone quickly reshape around the blade, allowing it to pass through me as though Sedine had slashed water, leaving me unharmed, but knocking off 4 levels of absorption from the spell. The crowd gasps as they witness defensive magic they haven't seen before. Well played, I say, and lash out 2 times with bite. There's no resistance as one copy shatters, and then another, leaving just 2 more apparitions for me to deal with. Apparently, the weapon's area of effect damage doesn't work unless I hit a solid target. No matter, the 2 remaining images strike in unison, and I evade both by leaping into the air, high enough to clear both our heads in an acrobatic flip. It's Hong Kong action cinema time. I follow the dodge with a strike. It lands home. Electricity crackles and spreads to the second image like it's supposed to. It bursts in a cascade of rainbow color. Now it's me against one attacker again. He slashes. I dodge. It might have seemed like a close one to the crowd, but with my heart pounding and time slowing as it often does in battle, it's as if he'd missed by a mile. I counterattack with bite. He blinks away. The same teleportation spell used at the beginning. Shadow step, rank 5. Success. I appear right behind him and slam bite into his kidney. I hear a muffled ugh, and lightning crackles. I follow up with a hook kick and strike again with the staff. I love hook kicks. His health drops. He turns. A fireball explodes in my face. The heat rolls over me like a nasty sunburn, but as with most damage in Freehaven, the pain quickly fades. I'm down to 90%. He's at 70. A hard battle, but I'm ahead. He blinks away, and before I know it, a volley of purple magic bolts soar my direction. I evade them with a tumble, spring to my feet, and rush like a madwoman to close the distance. Shadow Steps got 10 more seconds on cooldown, so it's no good. I'm almost there. I reach with my free hand and slap a handful of dirt through the slit in his face guard. Blind, rank 5. Success. Sedid is blinded for 10 seconds. My competitor shakes his head, trying to clear dust from his face. I press my advantage. A powerful kick knocks him back, and a blow to his chest, followed by one to the kneecap, brings him down to one knee. Another blast of fire. I evade, just in time, slipping out of its reach. I spin bite around me and smash it down hard onto Sadid's burning shoulder. He crumples. Small worms of blue electric magic crawl from bite into black armor. Health at 30%. He tries to recover. Bites spinning, a mirage of blue electric wheels forming around me. He's up to one knee. He's about to cast. Crunch! The side of my staff kisses the side of his armored face. He's not moving. Let me make sure I know. Okay, Sedine doesn't have any voice direction anyway. You have defeated Sedid. Healers rush to greet us. Halos of holy gold surround our bodies as my health's topped off and Sedid's climbs gradually. I hear coughing, a woman's voice, as Sedid removes. her helm revealing a mop of dark blue hair and slightly pointed ears, much like my own. Her azure-tinted skin and shape of her eyes and nose remind me of an Indian goddess, Vishnu's pointy-eared daughter. She has a dusty raccoon mask from where I hit her with the dirt. It'd be comical if I hadn't just given her such a trouncing. I say, "Well fought, Lord Sadid." A fish and a handkerchief from my inventory. I hand it to her so she can clear the grit from her face. She seems grateful. She says, wait a minute, did we Sadid? Okay, so what should she sound like? Um,
You can just do a strong voice, female.
well
She's
fought,
tough.
Lord. Okay, is she an NPC? I can't remember. Or PC.
She's an NPC.
Okay. Well fought, Lord Melpomene. Melpomene? Yeah. And we grasp each other's forearms. This time, the words carry a sensation of ritual that I enjoy. As with the conclusion of the first battle, I raise Bite high overhead. The crowd roars its approval. My body teems with elated energy. Back in the tent, I'm alone. Just 2 battles to go. I take another swig of the ice water. If Taco wins, there's a 50-50% chance that we'll face off in the next battle. I think I'd rather thrash NPCs. Okay, so this is chat stuff, so I'm just going to read it in her voice as if she's reading the chat. Mireille. Woohoo! Melpomene wins. Melpomene. Yeah, she was a badass. Mireille. Why didn't she use her sword? Melpomene. Because she's smart. Her first direct hit didn't work, so she switched to magic. Mireille. I gotcha. That was a funky spell. How long's it last? Melpomene. 30 minutes, but it's only good for 10 health levels and only works against physical attacks. Mireille. Still, it's pretty cool. Melpomene. Free world magic. I even got a quest to teach the local wizard. Mireille. Really? That's hilarious. Melpomene. How's Taco doing? Mireille. I don't know. Neither has taken any damage, but it's a shield and sword guy. It's hard for him to connect. Melpomene. That sucks. Mireille. This is going to be a long battle. Melpomene. Hold on. I'm gonna recast Flow Like Water. I pull out my hands and begin casting. The abundance of wind feels good against my skin since I've worked up a sweat. My long hair whips crazy directions. Outside, the crowd gasps a collective, "Oh!" Melpomene. What happened? The response isn't immediate. I pull up my spells on my VT and get to thinking how best to handle a highly mobile opponent like Taco. I feel like an idiot because there's one I used to use all the time. It didn't occur to me because this isn't free world and I'm not in the skin of Marine Lou. Move like ice. Rank 3. Cost 500 mana. Dexterity plus martial arts. Duration 20 seconds. By channeling the cold forces of yin energy and directing them at your opponent, you may cause them to slow or even freeze them in their tracks. Effect: target movement speed decreased by 50%, 20% chance to freeze them in place, 10% chance to impose -4 dexterity penalty. I wonder how it'd have worked against an opponent like Sadid. I've never used it on a teleporter since that kind of magic, aside from the Thunder Bridge, isn't common in Free World. I make a mental note to use it in the next battle. Mireille. Taco's down. I don't think he's going to make it. Melpomene. That sucks. How'd he get him? Mireille. Critical hit on a shield bash that knocked him over. The crowd rumbles with applause, and I think, not good for Taco. Mireille. He's out. It's up to you now. Melpomene. Sorry to hear that, but I'm also kinda glad that I don't have to fight him. Melpomene. It's not a guild-specific event, so I didn't want any hard feelings if one of us eliminated the other. Mireille. We're still cheering for you, and I doubt there would be. Astram pops his head in from outside and says, Astram sounds like old grandfatherly half-elf. Lady Lord Melpomene! I exit, wondering what kind of dragon I'll be facing. What I see in the arena defies all expectations. A green-skinned orc with red eyes and great white tusks that reach up to his lower eyelids. He obviously chose to forego the comforts of the Champions Lounge. I check his nameplate. Groth. Type, player. Race, orc. Appearance, 2. Challenge, average. He's wearing brown hide armor, a variety of pelts stitched into a human-shaped covering. His helm looks like the skin and skull of a mountain lion with a set of massive antlers attached. He has neither staff nor sword. Instead, he twirls a length of dark chain that drips an unknown liquid and glows an unnerving shade of crimson. That's different, I say, thinking on how to approach this. With a chain weapon, not getting hit is the obvious strategy, and it looks like parrying isn't an option. The crowd is a mix of yas and boos. A guy from I don't know where shouts, "Don't let that filthy orc win!" Nice to know they're on my side. I spin my staff for the benefit of the crowd. Many cheer me. I halt and deliver my customary bow to my opponent. No response from the PC. He just alternates between spinning the end of his chain and wrapping lengths of it around his fist. That's a pretty good idea. I'll have to try it. 3, 2, 1, begin. Before I can think to shadow step, the orc charges, roaring in like a bear, with the chain spinning like a rotary fan in his fist. Something about his vocalization makes the air behind his head glow in a red fog. An interesting cosmetic effect, and most certainly not good for me. He closes the distance with long, powerful strides that are so long they resemble kicks. I drop down, spin, and hit him with a dragon tail sweep. The red chain and orc's forelegs sail right over me. I knock the weight on his other foot from behind him. Martial arts maneuver. Dragon tail sweep. Rank 3. Success. The crowd celebrates. No time for that, because I'm back on my feet and spinning bite ready for my first weapon attack. Wham! I expect a direct hit, but my staff just makes clouds in the dirt. Instead of falling prone like a heavily armored foe, Groth tumbles and ends up on his feet. So much for me being the only agile one. He roars again, more beast than intelligent race, and swings the chain at my face. A simple dodge, no problem, just a slight wind from his strike on my cheek. I counter with a swift upward blow with bite to the orc's side, leaving little black burn marks in his armor. I whirl the staff back around and follow through with a downward strike to his head, sending one antler flying. Groth, health 80%. I'd hoped for more. Instead of using another chain swipe, Groth punches, with the length of the metal entwining his fist. A metallic clack sounds as the end of bite meets the metal in his hand, sending small snakes of electricity into him. I give the orc a look to say, "What were you thinking?" Groth health 70%. He doesn't respond except to swing again with the long end of his chain. I dodge out of the way, but it loops 3 times around the shaft of my weapon. I pull. The orc pulls back. It's a tug-of-war stalemate because neither of us are letting go, and bite's not breaking. The orc bellows, a new red cloud haloing his face. He yanks hard. I try to resist, but the weapon goes flying. My staff clatters in the dirt as the orc jerks it far out of reach. He makes an aggressive feline yowl befitting the creature he wears on his head. 1 heartbeat, 2 heartbeats. He's a fast changer. Too quick for me to track tusk and green skin melt into a face full of black whiskers and brown fur. It's not like free world wares, where skin, muscle, and bones stretch and contort over the course of slow seconds. Instead, the orc is like soft clay, slammed in a mold and granted new shape in an instant. I'm now facing a larger-than-life puma without a weapon. Damn thing's the size of a liger. I totally thought that a liger was like made up for Napoleon Dynamite. I thought that Napoleon Dynamite made that up until I actually looked it up, and it's an actual thing. And they are huge. by the way. Hot swap. Success. You have equipped Fists of the Thunderlord. Fists of the Thunderlord description. Left is thunder, right is lightning. Don't get caught in a storm. Quality, epic. Type, leather. Slot, hands. Armor, 1. Equipped bonus, dexterity +2, strength +1, stamina +1. Special properties, right hand only. Unarmed attacks inflict +4 lightning damage. Left hand only. Unarmed attacks inflict +4 sonic damage. Left hand only. 33% chance on hit to deafen your opponent for 20 seconds. Effects are cumulative. Bonus damage ignores armor. Excuse me. I'd considered the war fans, and might still use them, but for now I prefer to have guaranteed bonus damage for each hit from these fingerless gloves, on top of the unarmed bonuses and benefits being a martial artist instills, such as an increased number of attacks. So here we are, 96-pound unarmed me versus an 800-pound mountain lion. Seems fair. Groth comes in for the pounce, but seems to forget the gravity-defying benefits of RPG martial arts. I leap high over the cat's head before it's anywhere near me and come down swinging my fists hard at its skull. A flash of light bursts from my left hand, and when I follow up with a hit from my right, there's an ear-rattling crack that echoes off the walls of not only the arena and stands, but the keep beyond. Collective gasps of surprise spring from the audience. No doubt a few are looking for rain. Groth swipes with his big paw, but I'm faster, dipping out of the way and smashing a lightning uppercut under his massive jaw, followed by thunder in his nose. The cat shakes its head as if seeing stars, and I go in for a follow-up kick. Bad idea. He claws, and the paw connects. Flow like water activates as the cat pushes through my fast reforming flesh. -5 absorption. I can only take one more of those blows before I'm losing real health. At least then, I'll be resisting damage with stamina. Groth roars and takes advantage of his hit. Although unharmed, the strike leaves me in an awkward position. He pounces and I go down, his feline face chomping and ripping away the last of my flow-like water defense. My flesh twists and reforms to soak up the damage from his teeth. This is ungood. Shadow Step, rank 5. Success. Glad it works while I'm on the ground. I roll to the side, disappearing into the shadow of his chest and paw, and re-emerge from the shadow of his right haunch. I can only hope he's still deaf and disoriented from my left hooks and unsure what's happening. Quick to my feet, I start a steady kata and push an unseen wave of cold yin energy into him via my Chinese elemental free world magic. Cast move like ice. Cast move like ice, rank 3. Success. Movement speed reduced by 50%. Little ice crystals coat his fur. I could go on the attack, but I decide to repeat the spell while he's not looking. Cast move like ice, rank 3. Success. Movement speed reduced by 50%. Target is frozen for 20 seconds. In my current gear, 2 small spells are enough to leave my mana a quarter depleted, but that's okay because I've got him where I want. So long as this guy doesn't surprise me with an AoE that hurts me, and not himself, I've got this. Can shapeshifters cast in animal form? Flash of light from the right, crack from the left. Don't get caught in the storm. With each impact, flecks of frost and ice drop off the cat as from a building after a snowstorm. In an instant, Groth shifts, now back in his red-eyed orc body. He tries to move, but ice crystals creep up his legs. It'll be like this for 10 seconds, and I seize the attack. Flash of light, kablam, boom! Quick punches in his flank. He turns his torso trying to hit me, but I'm just out of reach. Hi, Lori, this should be you.
Are you being female?
I am being female. I dance like a hornet and sting with the old one, too. Jabs flash like cameras against his jaw. Kaboom! Boom! As a left-handed uppercut sends his chin skyward. He looks dazed. I'm a flurry of fist and storm smashing his ribs, each blow chipping away at his health. Flash! Crash! Boom! Groth health, 20%. 4 3, 2, move like ice is expiring. I finish him off with a roundhouse kick that puts his ugly face in the dirt. You have defeated Groth. Unarmed skill increased by 1. Current level 13. Cheers explode around me. I do a backflip and then leap into a handspring. I could get used to this attention. I look around the floor and find Bite a few paces away. I shake the chain off, kiss the shaft, and say, I've missed you. Cheers grow even louder. They must have really not wanted the orc to win. I head back to Groth, where the green-robed healers are fixing him up. I extend my hand in good sportsmanship and say, Well fought. Groth sneers at my gesture and says, Fucking noob. That takes me off guard, since all the Haven folk have been graceful in their defeat. I say, if I'm a noob, you just got your ass kicked by one. All right. Oh, look at Lori laughing at me. Ha ha, very funny. I didn't know there's actually 2 different like I didn't know this one was going to be female narrated as well. This is the one I picked to do before you came in. So yeah, I guess people get 2 different female narrators.
I'm a real female, a real one.
Yeah.
It's super, so thank you.
Thank you for requesting it, June. It was a lot of fun. This is I like the way that you write action. I like your writing style. It's very concise and to the point and fast. So it really lends itself well to action. So yeah, I hope people will go and pick up your book. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share one more time. And so yeah, go pick up Dragonsbane, y'all. Freehaven Online is the series title by June Prince. When did you say book 2 was going to come out again?
So it's currently available on pre-order, and the official date is September something, but I'm going to push it out early as soon as in probably about 4 weeks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what was that?
I said looks badass. Great covers.
Yeah, you have awesome covers. So yeah, June, thanks so much for coming and hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and ping Bonnie now to get her on the stream. But yeah, that was a great segment, and I'm glad you requested.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hi, June.
All right, so for now, Lori, thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Hello.
You got the email from me?
I did, yes. I haven't really read it all the way through, but I skimmed it a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Didn't really have time.
So yes, we have a real female for this one.
Oh, real one. They are not always easy to find, you know?
Yeah, they're hiding a lot.
Didn't you know girls don't exist on the internet?
Oh.
Okay.
Was that Bonnie?
That's Bonnie, yes.
I didn't catch what you said. Something about women on the internet?
Girls don't exist on the internet.
Oh no, they're not real. They're all just trolls. Just pretending.
Yeah, all of them. They're all actually dudes.
Actually, women in general are all just trolls.
All right. So before we get started with your read, and actually Bonnie will have you introduce your book and your project and everything. Before that, I want to remind everybody that I am giving away audiobooks today. But today is special because we're okay, we just passed 500 members on the SBTL Facebook group, and we're almost at 500 subscriptions on the YouTube channel. So what I want to do is only give out audiobooks to new people who haven't actually gotten free audiobooks from me. So I think I think Danny Katz is in the chat right now. So Danny, if you could please keep track of the people who request a free audiobook, and I think you'll be able to tell which ones have gotten some from me and which ones haven't. But yeah, if you guys are liking this stream and you think that your friends would like it, and they haven't subscribed, they don't know about me, go get them. Tell them to come in here, request an audiobook. I'm giving out 5. So Danny's going to keep track. He's going to watch the chat. And yeah, good luck to you guys. So, Bonnie, tell us about your book.
So, Deck of Souls is mostly Portal fantasy. I'll start off saying I'm very biased when it comes to game lit and LitRPG because I format for some of the people in the society, and tables are absolute hell to deal with. So when I started writing Deck of Souls, I was like, no, I do not want to do tables whatsoever. So that
Shame on you.
I know, shame on me. So I really like writing about demonic characters, whether they're incubi and succubi like they are in Deck of Souls, or just non-human characters in general. We're humans in real life, and that's boring. Why would we play one in video games?
Right.
So that's the approach I took with Deck of Souls. So the main character, Ceres, she's been leading her own guild that's quite successful for quite a while. And basically, they decide one day not to show up to a world boss that they've had on lockdown for months. And she's pissed off. When she comes out of the game, she finally finds out that, oh, her entire guild is playing another game, and they convince her to come try it. So the chapter that I submitted for y'all to read is basically her first encounter with the world properly outside of the demo that she's played.
All right.
That's pretty cool. This is
So
a little bit of a cold read for me, just so you know, Bunny. I don't want
That's fine.
this
Go.
show is all this show is all about cold reads. So
Yeah.
not a big surprise there. But I know Lori's pretty damn good at cold reads, so we don't have to worry too much about it.
Barely read it.
Okay, so I think when I looked at your email, you said, okay, accents. All right, so everyone besides, how do you pronounce the main character's first name again? Ceres?
Ceres.
Okay. It seems like everybody is Welshish, Britishish.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna do my best with that direction. I did look up the YouTube video that you sent. And that was, I mean, like,
I've never attempted a Welsh accent. Oh,
it's
I don't have to, do I?
difficult. It's not easy because it's, you know, it's somewhere between like Scottish and British, you
Right.
know, and it's really hard to pin down.
Are
So
any of the demons female before I speak too soon? I was like, oh, I don't have to do one today, but maybe I don't know. I'm seeing that the demons are Welsh, British.
The main character, Ceres, doesn't have an accent assigned to her yet, so you can pretty much do whatever you want as far as her voice goes. And the rest of the characters in the chapter are male.
all right. So the accents are all up to me. You like it?
Yes.
Ugh. We'll see what comes out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works.
I can do whatever I want. So you know, maybe one paragraph will be like surfer, and the next paragraph will be like Scottish, and then it'll be like Jamaican. JK.
Jamaican sounds more like Irish than Welsh.
I'm not gonna be doing Jamaican. I should be doing Jamaican today. Don't you worry. Nor have I ever, and nor should I ever.
Okay, so can Bonnie, can you tell us about this scene that we're about to do?
So, context, previous chapters, Ceres had just finished making her character and she's impatient to join the world and get started. She was supposed to roll a human character with the rest of her guild because they found Tails to be incredibly unwieldy to deal with in this game because it's hyper realistic. And they were like, well, we don't have Tails in real life. How the heck do we use one? So she gets into the game and there's a faction lockout. She can't roll a human. She's forced to roll a demon. So she's like, okay, well, it's just beta. I'll figure out demons and then just make my guild roll demon when the game launches. And she's told that she's supposed to be spawning in Valewood Forest.
Okay. Well, that sounds awesome. I'm really into this concept already.
Cool. All right.
All
Ready
right.
to
Well, if there's nothing else you think we need to know, I think Lori can get started.
Can't think of anything. All good.
All right.
Chapter 9. Close Encounters of the Demon Kind. I was falling. My eyes snapped open and my stomach dropped. Below me was mountainous terrain stained in scarlet. Glints of metal and wisps of magic shimmered through the dark rocks. Screams echoed across the valley. Snow fell from the sky, only to melt upon drifting to the fresh blood below. This is not a forest. I quickly took stock of myself, confirming that I was indeed still in the game and appeared to have fallen out of the sky. My leather traveling clothes did little to shield me from the frigid air. My tail trailed behind me, tossed around by the wind. If I didn't come up with something fast, I'd become another bloodstain in the war-torn valley below. I clenched and unclenched my fists a few times. There was a tickle in the back of my mind, like with other VR MMOs, indicating some access to magic. Since we didn't get to pick our skills prior to interacting with trainers, I had to assume there were at least some generic abilities available to demonic player characters. Black smoke exploded around me when I mentally yanked at the sensation I'd felt in my mind. Seconds later, I collided with the ground, sending foul-smelling mud and traces of shadow flying into the air. The impact knocked the air from my lungs, but at least I'd managed to keep from getting my guts smeared across the valley floor. For now. Blades crashed above my head as opposing forces clashed around me. I scrambled to my knees and then onto my feet, darting away from the slash of a halberd. Demons, humans, beastmen, elves, armor in dozens of different colors. I had no idea who was who or whose side I was even supposed to be on. Everyone around me was in heavy armor and wielding large weapons. My clothing may as well have been lingerie, given the situation.
Out of the way, woman!
A demon barked, stepping between me and one of the much smaller human soldiers. He disarmed the man and gutted him before turning to look at me again.
Don't know how the hell you ended up here, but this is no place to be without proper...
I tackled the demon around the waist and shoved him to the ground. An arrow pierced his shoulder, but the swing of the great axe I'd spotted behind him missed us both. The surging tide of soldiers around us soon carried the great axe-wielding human to his demise. The demon I tackled gave me a bewildered look as I scrambled to my feet and hefted a discarded sword off the ground. Not the place for chit-chat, I pointed out, tensing my jaw. Okay, Saris, think this through. Most of these soldiers are male, the demons and beastmen are way bigger than you, and not all of them are wearing Nabirs on? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
The demons and beastmen are way bigger than you, and not all of them are wearing Nabir Zan colors. Just find the easiest way out of the fighting and... A battle cry from overhead made the ground beneath me rumble and sway. I looked up and felt the blood drain from my face. Idris Bloodsong, king of Nabir Zan, was bearing down on me with a long sword in one hand and an enraged gleam in his crimson eyes. Idris Bloodsong, LV? Is that LV or
Level.
Level.
That's what I thought.
Level.
Idris Bloodsong, level? Fuck! I leapt out of his way and landed in a crouch, keeping my grip firm on the sword I'd picked up. He rushed me as I swayed to my feet, giving me barely any time to parry his strike. Magic whirled around the length of his blade as he shifted and broke his weapon away from mine. The same motion flowed into a new attack aimed at my throat. The hell is your problem? I snapped, darting away again.
You attacked one of my men, traitor.
He snarled, his voice gruff with rage. His response just pissed me off more. I didn't attack him, you imbecile! I kicked his wrist, deflecting his sword to the side. He'd have gotten an axe in his back if I hadn't... His foot connected with my stomach hard enough to send me flying backward into the backs of nearby human soldiers. I scrambled to my feet and out of the enraged king's path again, now with the added issue of dodging the pissed-off humans I'd crashed into. Magic flowed down Idris's sword and set the toppled humans alight on contact. Lovely. Pissing off a Demon King in my first few minutes of playing Jaskier was certainly not how I envisioned things going. I doubted this was the actual starting scenario for new characters with this faction either. If it was a bug, it sure was a doozy. Question marked level. Question marked level. Is that right?
Yep.
Question marked level, Demon King. Supposedly one of the strongest NPCs in the game, I thought quickly as I ran into the midst of human soldiers. Okay, so whatever his skills are, they've got to be close to, if not past, the master level. I shouldn't be able to hold my own against him. Is he holding back for some reason? How do I calm down a pissed off Demon King? Several of the humans shot me baffled glances, taking in my leather clothing. Given that everyone else was in heavy plate or chainmail, I couldn't blame them. I didn't belong on a battlefield with what I was wearing. That, or maybe they didn't know why their enemy was chasing one of his kind through their ranks. Maybe a bit of both. I skidded to a halt and leaned out of a human strike. It took me a moment to register that their yells to take down the demon bitch referred to me. Oopsies. Alas, angry humans weren't enough to slow down the Demon King. Idris's sword arm lashed out past me as I turned to run past him. Behind me, I heard his blade connect with something. A human charged Idris's back with a spear readied, aiming for the king's back. Gritting my teeth, I lunged forward and struck the shaft of the spear with my palm, knocking it harmlessly to the side where its point buried itself in the mud. In my next motion, I shoved the blade of my sword up under the man's jaw and out the top of his head. The bastard dropped like a bag of bricks, taking my sword with him.
You're coming back to Sejarir for questioning, traitor.
Idris spat as he pivoted to glare at me. He glanced at the man I'd killed before readying his weapon again.
I need you alive for that. Come quietly, or...
Without hesitation, I slugged the Demon King in his jaw and ran away again, searching for another dropped weapon I could claim. Like hell, I was going to let him take me somewhere for questioning. I slid to a stop, hefted a spear off the ground, and turned in time to dodge most of Idris's next attack. His sword grazed my cheek, leaving a line of stinging pain behind. I could nurse it later. I took off at a run, weaving my way through the ranks of human soldiers. Many yelled to kill me or capture me. Cursing internally, I looked for somewhere else to run. Idris was sounding more and more pissed off. I couldn't bet on him going easy on me for much longer. Humans clearly weren't going to be any help since I'd picked a demon character. A human swung a claymore at me, missing my abdomen by mere inches. Growling, I called on the tickle of magic again and concentrated on taking the bastard down. Floating swords of darkness flew over my shoulder and pierced the soldier in his throat. Good enough. Glancing back, I spotted Idris was too close for comfort. He cut down the humans in his path with ease and stalked toward me, face twisted with rage and irritation. I fled toward the ranks of demons again. Humans obviously weren't going to help me. The demons, at least, appeared more numerous and had some women among them. Perhaps I could sneak through.
Damned pest!
Idris roared, startling a squeak out of me. Magic lanced past me, leaving the air sizzling in its wake. Either his aim sucked or that was a warning shot. I wasn't sure which was more dangerous for me. I planned to roast my guildmates for complaining about tails being unwieldy. My tail wasn't a problem. Clearly they just needed to be dropped into the middle of a fucking battle to learn how to deal with it. Wait, tails. I took in the armored demons. Sure enough, their tails weren't fully encased in armor. A weak spot. Perfect. I wove through the throngs of demon soldiers, doing my best to keep from running into someone else's attack. Idris's roared orders carried over even the clamor of battle, directing his men to apprehend me. I yanked on tails, dove between people's legs, and pulled several people's weapon belts loose. A good hard yank on their tails seemed to do the trick for distracting them, though it also really pissed them off. Now I had the Demon King and what felt like half his army chasing me. Great. Great going, Saris. An enormous hammer struck the ground in front of me, forcing me to slide to a stop. A demon cloaked in flames appeared beside it and lifted it like it weighed nothing, shooting me an intrigued look. His armor was fancier than the other demons, and I could have sworn I'd spotted him in the anime, but I couldn't recall his name. I didn't have the time to think about it either. I shot off to my left, diving into the nearest wall of soldiers in search of a way out. There had to be some fucking way for me to get away from all the fighting, from running and dodging for so long, but I was determined to get away. I just had to keep pushing myself.
No, you don't.
Another demon lashed out at me.
Surround her.
Before I could find another opening to slip through, the wall of demonic soldiers shifted to encircle me, their weapons held at the ready. I scowled and attempted to catch my breath. Not a great situation to be in, but not entirely dissimilar to some of the Zergs I'd gotten trapped by in other VR MMOs. If I could buy time, I might find a way out.
The traitor is mine.
The voice from less than a foot behind me sent a chill down my spine. I whirled around with spear in hand, but Idris caught the shaft of the weapon just below the blade and gave me a condescending look.
She will be coming with me for questioning. Do not interfere.
You got mud in your ears? I snapped. I'm not going with someone who won't listen to a damn word. Idris twisted his hand, snapping off the spearhead. He tossed it aside before lunging at me with his sword.
You are mildly interesting, at least.
Mildly? The corner of my eye twitched.
Did the Estradian Empire send you to sow confusion?
Idris swung lazily toward me, giving me more than enough time to get the hell out of his way.
Or perhaps you are from one of the small...
Maybe you should fucking listen when someone tries to respond to you. Frustrated, I launched myself at him and kicked him in the breastplate with the ridge of my foot. He arched an eyebrow at me as if to question if I'd really expected that to work. The answer was no, but that didn't keep me from getting madder.
How vulgar.
Idris sighed at me. And you are just playing with me, I snapped, easily knocking his sword arm away from me when he slashed toward me again. He shot me a cocky smirk that made my blood boil. If you're going to fight me, then fight me, you son of a—
Enough of this.
Idris spoke, his words possessing a melodic hum that caused the air to vibrate.
Come.
I refuse! My protest stopped short when a melody akin to a song left Idris's lips. My vision began to fade as I felt my knees buckle. Great, I got my ass kicked by a bard.
Scene. That's it.
That's a fun scene.
Yeah, that was fun. You guys, both of the authors we've had on so far are really good at writing action scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the chops of the authors in this community are starting to get better and better. So I'm really happy about that. So Bonnie, thank you so much for requesting your book, and thank you so much for bringing like a bazillion people to the group to come and vote for you. I love it when people game the system that way because that just brings more people in. So
I love the idea that she's in demon form, versus like I'm relatively new to the genre, but it seems like everybody's like an elf or a human, which can be cool, but I like that added problematic demon form. It's like, oh shit.
Okay, so are like all their tails prehensile? Like are they grabby?
Yes.
Yes.
They're very flexible. They're a little bit longer than their legs, so they're very problematic to deal with.
I want one.
Same.
I want one. Okay, so thank you so much, Bonnie, for coming and hanging out with us while we read your book. And now, okay, so you're just on Royal Road at the moment, but it looks like you have a lot of chapters already. So
Yes.
do you think you'll be publishing soon on Amazon?
I'm looking to hopefully publish later this year or early next year. I've already talked to my cover artist that does my other series, but she might not be able to get me in until like October or November.
Okay, I did not realize you were already published. So let me find your Amazon page and pimp you out a little bit more. Bonnie L. Price.
That's
Go by.
correct.
Beneath the Mists of Astral and Umbral, book 1. Okay, so let me pimp out this book a little bit for you. And I will have to go through the vortex a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's sickening, but you know. There we go. All right.
He's gone.
Okay, so Beneath the Mists. That's a pretty sexy cover.
Thank you.
And so what's this one about?
These are things I like.
So, demons again, because I like demons.
More demons.
Is about deities that are demons. But it's also romantic fantasy. So right now I'm up to like book 6 of this series on Royal Road, but only book 1 is published so far.
Okay.
Are
you going with the same cover artist for the Deck of Souls?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, yeah, good choice. It's looking good. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed that story and you want more prehensile tales in your literature, then go buy Bonnie L. Price's Beneath the Mists. It's available on Amazon right now. If you were interested in the actual story we were reading at the moment, go check out Deck of Souls on Royal Road Legends. Let's see, how many chapters you at? 27? 27 chapters so
26
far?
technically.
26. Okay. And hopefully you'll be publishing by the end of the year. So congratulations on your success at least on Royal Road. I mean, I saw that you have like almost 2,000 followers, so you're doing really well on Royal Road. And I think that once you publish this one, people are going to jump on it. So so thank you so much for requesting and bringing all these people to come hang out with us. We're still at 16 viewers. That's awesome. And yeah, so go pick that shit up, guys. And Bonnie, I guess if you want to request again, for sure, we'll be glad to have you.
That'd be fun.
All right.
And thank y'all for reading.
Thanks, Bonnie.
All right. So our last request, we're going to move on to where to go. Uh-oh, I broke it. I have to remind myself there's so many. The Dead Rogue.
Dead Rogue.
The Dead Rogue.
I thought we established that Dead Rogues didn't do much.
No, they don't. They really don't. They're very, very boring. And sometimes they get wet and they smell awful.
Mine's been peed on by many different dogs.
And Asians and Chinamen.
I'm sorry, what? Is that a stereotype?
It is if you like The Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
Haven't you seen that movie?
I hear a similar stereotype once from somebody when I was living abroad, and I remember just looking at them like, "Excuse me." Like, they claimed that there were signs in the Louvre that were in Mandarin telling people not to pee or poop there, and they were like, "Oh, because it's happened many times before." And I was like, "I don't believe." Maybe don't spread stuff like that. That's not.
It's not a real stereotype. It's just from a movie. That's all.
As long as it still ties the room together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, if your nose is clogged, then it could still tie the room together. Lots of colors to hide the stain, you know. So, okay, so let's move on to the Dead Rogue.
Do you need any authentic lady voices?
If you want to stick around, I'm glad to have you.
Sure.
Okay, I will do that. Let's see. Dead Rogue.
My tablet is going the way of my car.
Uh-oh.
Sort of slowly dying.
And featured in a few different short films as well.
My tablet? Oh, you're referring to my car. My car's on Ozark.
On Ozark?
Yeah.
Ozark? Really?
from the show.
Just watched that. I just watched that show. Fuck, what do you remember what scene it was?
Well, because we're from. I mean, you're from the Missouri side, right? I'm from
Of course.
Kansas
Of course. There's
originally, and my car had Kansas plates on it, and they wanted to feature it in the show, which is hilarious 'cause they just blurred out the plates anyway, like, obviously.
They
But
did?
they were really excited because they wanted it to look like a Midwestern drug dealer for just to, like, background in the scene, but when they pay for your car, they have to pay for you too, so they, like, basically, they called my car back a few times, and they were like, "We have to pay for you too, and you go into overtime, so does your car." Like, uh, and every time I came back, the car was worse because it's just a pile of trash now, and, that just rolls, down the Atlanta highway and doesn't produce AC or anything. Um, but, like, every time I brought it back, it was just more and more degraded, and they were like, "Excuse me, Miss Winkle, is your car a little different than the last time?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Yeah, I thought there were not this many dents before." And I was like, "No." And then I came back
Isn't that
with
something they
like,
want?
"It doesn't match my reference photo in that, your side mirror is a different color." Like, "Yeah, I destroyed it, and I replaced it with a side mirror that wasn't the same color because it was cheaper." She's like, "Great, that's great. Like, love it. Cool." It's like, "You love it now, I have to put a tarp on it when it rains," which is, like, every day, and back 2 windows are stuck shut at this with, like, this much of a gap. It's horrible. It's so sad. I feel
Are
like
you going to Okay, so when you get a new car, are you donating that one to a museum?
I should just donate it to the production of Ozark, I don't know. They've really
Yeah, you should.
like,
As long as Did they put you in the credits?
it's so sad, like, I feel sad watching it deteriorate. It's like watching an old dog, and it, like,
Yeah.
can't walk properly, and it can't see straight, and it runs into stuff, and it peels up people's legs, and, like, that's what it
It
feels like with my
you
car.
you
They
you
wish
know,
I kinda
I
give it
recently replaced my piece of shit car,
mhm,
and it had been deteriorating in the same way, and actually, the thing that prompted me to say, "Okay, this has to be replaced right now." I was driving on the highway with my old piece of shit car, and there's this rubber piece that runs along the right side of the car. Like, it's a
mhm,
Ford Taurus, it's a '97 Ford Taurus, there's this black rubber piece.
road.
I don't know what the hell it's for, really, but it literally peeled off and flew off my car
Sounds about
wh
right.
while I was driving on the highway, and, like, it coulda caused an accident,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but I figured.
Like, they'll run forever, but they'll fall apart slowly, like, every piece
Right.
like, it'll just begin to collapse, like, the bumper will just be gone one day. You'll be
Yeah,
driving, you're like, "Wait, where'd the bumper go?"
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
it left it."
yeah,
It'll roll for another, like, 20 years, like, that's kind of
right,
that.
but
Mine's
not with its dignity
right,
intact, right?
yeah. No, I mean, it
So
already isn't it's Ford Taurus, like, you
yeah,
didn't buy it to look sexy, like,
no,
you bought it to
uh,
get point A to point B.
so so eventually, well, not eventually, I was like, "Okay, car shopping time," and after about 2 weeks of car shopping, I found the car I wanted. I traded in my car for $200.
Oh god, that's about how much I'm gonna get for mine.
I can't believe they even paid me anything for it, but still, they gave me $200 of credit.
Mhm.
The next week, I went to the Price Chopper that's just down the street from my house, and I saw my fucking car. I
Somebody was
saw
driving it?
someone had bought it, some family had bought it, and I saw them, they were like it looked like they had just bought it because they were in the I don't know why they were doing this in the parking lot, but they were, like, making arrangements in the park. They were, like, organizing the damn car
Yeah,
in the parking lot, but I knew it was my car. There was no way to mistake my
yeah.
car because, like you, I had gone to,
Your
what
scent.
what are they called? Like the pick and pulls, to replace certain pieces of my car with
Oh, yeah.
different colored.
You're like, "I'm not gonna waste another $200 getting this painted the right color," like, "Who
Right.
cares?"
Yeah, yeah, who gives a shit?
Of
So yeah,
course.
it was clearly my car
Some of the
and
things
still in my
driving
neighborhood.
around Atlanta, like, some of the vehicles that I can't there are things that I just cannot believe run at all, like, I feel good about my car in comparison, but it's not gonna last much longer.
Mhm.
Anyway, we digress. I can't
We
tell
digress.
if there's if there are any women. There's some noobs that some of whom would be women, I guess. But
Okay. I mean, you can play. I narrated an entire request as a female, so maybe you can play like one of the males. Like, just pick one if you want. Unfortunately, we don't have the author with us for this one.
okay.
Okay, MC is the dead man. His voice is hoarse and probably tired. Gart is full of strength and self-assured. For him, it's just a game. Okay.
I can do all the like level.
Oh yeah, you want to be the system?
I'll do my Siri voice.
Yes, your Siri voice is excellent.
Thank you.
So let's do this. Okay. The Dead Rogue, an NPC's Path, book number 1 by Pavel Kornev. And it's got a really awesome cover. And it looks like it's doing pretty well, actually, on the Amazon store. So go pick it up if you like our next read. And here goes. Chapter 3. Darkness, loose earth, and tree roots. Tree roots? I crawled out of the shallow grave and was surprised. I'm thinking about this mystery because the sun was already rising and my skin started to smoke under its bright light. I had to hide in the thick shadow under the canopy of the oak. Once I was there, I opened the game log and couldn't help growling happily.
You've gained a level.
The game mechanics didn't just give me XP for killing the healer. It also gave me the XP for the archers that had been torn apart by ghouls as if I was the master of the pack, so my level immediately jumped from 2 to 5. I quickly invested the 3 free attribute points in intelligence, and admired the results.
Plague-ridden corpse, undead. Level 5. Strength 18. Agility 3. Constitution 23. Intelligence 5. Perception 5. Health 115. Stamina 102. Energy 25. Damage 1 to 4.
Wow! I was no longer a walking corpse. I was a plague-ridden corpse, and my death grip now sucked the life out of the victims along with the stamina. A new skill called Aura of Fear appeared as well. However, the greatest changes were to my appearance. The bloating had disappeared. The leaking pustules had dried out and were partially replaced with cadaveric spots. The perception penalty from sunlight was reduced by 5%, but the main thing was that my fingers were no longer like sausages that had been boiled too long, and they could now bend properly. The change from the walking corpse category to the ranks of the plague-ridden corpses really made me happy. But I also started to feel hunger. It was not in-game. I had the impression that this was the way that my brain was letting me know that my real body needed food. Alas, there was nothing I could do about it now. Or could I? My intelligence was sufficient to speak now. So what was I waiting for? After hiding the mysterious skull among the roots of the oak, I went towards the nearest alleyway, but I still lost several points of health and a third of my stamina no matter how much I tried to keep to the shadows because of the rays of sunlight burning my skin. I even thought of getting a cloak, but I didn't take the idea seriously. If I managed to talk to some player, I wouldn't need it anymore. However, I didn't come across any players for some reason. I only came across a lovely-looking elf in green clothing that hugged her shapely body like a second skin by the gates of the park. Hey, you do get a roll.
Eladriel Emerald Vine. Elf. Druid. Level 8.
I spread my hands in front of me and quickly stammered, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm a player too, and I need help. There was no more howling and incomprehensible moaning. I said exactly what I meant to say. The problem was that I said it in some unknown language. Throaty sounds, short phrases, and unfamiliar intonations. If I wasn't dead already, my hair would have stood on end. The elf reacted immediately. She threw a green sphere at me and gripped her battle staff with both hands.
Growing thorns. Defenses failed. Damage taken. 2, 4, 8.
A rough-looking warrior jumped out from somewhere to the side, raised his club, and shouted, "Leave it to me!" to the elf.
Go away!
I decided against getting into a hopeless battle and jumped into the bushes, but I fell and started to convulse after taking 2 steps. There was no pain, but something alien was growing inside me. My swollen skin burst and the spiky shoots of a thorn bush started to rupture outwards.
Damage taken. 64. You have been killed.
Earth, tough oak roots, and the whisper of leaves above my head. I was reborn in the forest this time, right in the place where I had hidden the skull. When I got out of the grave, I shuddered as I remembered the thorns piercing my insides and decided to find a more reliable shelter. Thankfully, the wind had brought clouds from somewhere and it was overcast. The first place that came to mind was the abandoned cemetery, so that was where I went, taking the skull along. The question that kept coming to my mind along the way was, what went wrong? Why did I speak gibberish instead of normal words? What was that language? Why did I start speaking it? A lack of intelligence was definitely not the issue. Sorry, I need more alcohol. This is a hard voice to do long term, and
That's like, I feel like that's like Jeff's other, like your second voice.
it kind of is. It's my
Your other
porno
second
voice.
and then you'll be like, "Now it's time for the other Jeff." It's like your other personality or something that you whip out.
I've got a lot of them.
Well, I'm like always like I don't know. I do a lot of voices, but hardly any of them are like high pitched unless I'm being real cartoonish. Like I've got a couple that are like girls that talk up here, but I feel like they're too mocking.
They're not very useful.
I don't want to be like stupid.
They're cartoony.
Insulting to women. So.
You got to learn how to do this one.
This is where my voice naturally sits. There's some mornings where I'm narrating a book and I'll be like, because not all books have this where you switch off male and female. Sometimes you just have to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be narrating a book where there'll be like a grizzled old man and it'll be like early in the morning and I'm like, this is the easiest voice for me to do today. And then like the girls up here are like too hard for me to do.
Time of day has a lot to do with exactly how your voice is going to feel while you're doing like any character.
Yeah.
Especially if you're narrating with a different voice than you're used to narrating with. Like
people sometimes leave me like negative comments that are like, I wish she wouldn't do a man voice for the male characters. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, it depends, right? Like you have to be able to do it convincingly to really win over everybody. That's the part that sucks. Like if you're in between in any way, some people are going to be pissed, and there's no way to get around that.
I'm like, I wasn't doing a man.
I was just whatever. People don't know. They don't know the trials and tribulations narrators have to go through. Cheers.
In a world. Don't sound like women all the time.
I was distracted from my uneasy thoughts by loud shouts and the ring of steel. I carefully moved out onto the edge of the forest and immediately understood that I shouldn't look for shelter in the abandoned graveyard. Half a dozen players were methodically clearing it of ghouls, checking one grave after another. The undead couldn't put up a worthy fight against humans in the light of the sun. Their cries kept ringing out.
This one's mine!
Don't touch it!
Leave it to me!
Get lost, noob!
The newbies were trying to beat each other, shouting and swearing. None of them noticed the lone undead creature in the bushes. I retreated. But then a red dot suddenly appeared on the map. One of the players had managed to get a pet, and the little cur ran straight towards me, barking furiously. There was no point in counting on hiding from a dog in the forest, so I had to run to the swamp. The bark soon quieted down, but I had suddenly reached the river, surprising even myself. I was forced to walk along the bank. The sun that shone through the cloud was burning away stamina at a fearsome pace. Even though I could have gone under the water and waited for the coming of darkness, I didn't want to waste time for nothing. When a riverside hill appeared ahead with some sort of ruins on its bald top, I immediately headed there to find shelter from the burning rays. Excuse me. I barely managed to walk up it. I thought that I'd just remain lying there on the slope, but no. I managed to curl up in the shadow of a ruined wall. I sat there a while, waiting for my stamina to be restored, and set off to examine the ruins. There was a broken gate in the wall on the side of the river, but as soon as I stepped through it, a stone slab sank under my foot and an unpleasant metallic creak rang out. What? Creak? Rank out?
A trap!
I rushed through my head as a log hanging on chains swung towards me, hammered into my chest, and threw me off the hill. After immediately losing half of my health, I fell into the water with a great splash and went to the bottom like a stone. I spent a while struggling around in the silt, but then I calmed down, gathered my strength, and crawled out onto the shore, covered in weed and ooze. I couldn't believe my eyes. The river had washed away the slope, the earth had fallen off and revealed a rough stone of laid walls. To add to it, there was even a black hole in the wall. Knee-deep in the mud, I burst through the cattails and entered the comfortable dimness and gloom of the dungeon. It turned out to be spacious and empty inside. Apart from a steel-bound chest with a great padlock hanging on it, a stairway was nearby, but the way up was blocked by collapsed walls, while the lower level had been flooded by the river, with the slimy steps descending into the dark water. A small and dark niche was by the side of the stairway with a smaller wooden chest inside. It turned out to be unlocked, so I immediately opened it, becoming the owner of a dozen gold coins, an unidentified magic bracelet, a worn-out chainmail hauberk, and a rusty knife which caused 1 to 2 points of damage. There were many holes in the hauberk, and it was not too good at protecting from stabbing or blunt weapons, but I put it on without hesitation. At least it was armor of some sort. Next, I hid the enchanted skull in a pile of stones and tried to use the knife to pick the lock on the large chest with no success. I walked around the dungeon again, but I couldn't find any hidden passages, so I returned to the hole in the wall. It was starting to rain outside, so I decided to use the bad weather to get out into the forest. I didn't need much more experience to reach the next level, and the more I would level up my plague-ridden corpse, the more chances I'd have to survive. Survive a conversation with yet another player. There was a sandbank overgrown with cattails by the slope, and I used it to reach the already familiar swamp to gather 50 points of experience slicing up the snakes that lived there with my knife. The map soon burned with numerous red dots, so I had to get away from the poisonous creatures, which were infuriated by my intrusion. Snake venom had no effect on me, but every bite took away 1 or 2 points of health, which didn't restore by itself, unlike stamina. So how could I heal? To hell with it anyway. Maintaining some distance from the graveyard, I went deeper into the forest and came across a rabid fox almost immediately. The predator jumped to the attack and fiercely bit into my leg. I bared my teeth, grabbed the fox by the scruff of its neck, and activated the death grip.
Energy, -11, 14/25. Health, +11, 34/115. Stamina, +11, 102/102.
Now I was healed. After spending another 11 units of energy, I killed the fox and kept going. The XP I received for killing the animal was not enough to get to level 6, but I came across no more minor forest creatures, and I gave the bear I saw a wide berth. It could have easily torn one of the undead to pieces. It started to rain harder, and darkness started to fall. The perception penalty went away, but the distance I could see still decreased to 1.5 dozen paces. I got out of the thick forest into one of the alleyways and literally walked into a sorcerer. The tall, thin, and pale necromancer immediately cast a battle spell at me, but the stone ball powerlessly burst into ghostly shards without causing me any harm.
Command undead. Immunity.
Stop!
I shouted when the level 9 necromancer raised his staff with a menacing steel hook on the end.
Wait!
Okay, wait a minute. You
I can do that
want to do the necromancer? 1 second. Let me look at do we have directions for MC's okay, Gart is full of strength and okay, so I think Gart is probably going to be the
What's the note on Gart?
strong. Let's see. Full of strength and self-assured. For him, it's just a game. I think. Hold on, let me make sure this is Gart.
It suddenly. Oh.
I don't. Yeah, Garth. Garth. Okay, so Garth is his
He's
name.
looking for Garth. I don't think that the necromancer is.
No, Garth Deathblade has accepted your That's a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit later. So you'll be Garth, and you're a necromancer. Wait, it's kind of funny that you're a necromancer and also full of strength and self-assured. But okay. Okay, so actually, do you want to do like an undead voice like I'm doing, like the raspy kind of thing going on, but like you're arrogant?
A talking undead.
The necromancer asked with surprise, but didn't lower his weapon.
What do you want, creature?
The necromancer and I were speaking the strange, throaty language, but still understood each other perfectly. He understood me, and I understood him. What could I say which wouldn't scare away the player and provoke him to attack? Everything got mixed up inside my head, and I blurted out the first thing that came into my mind.
A quest!
The quest generation menu immediately opened. The necromancer put the staff behind his back and graciously agreed to hear me out.
Speak, creature.
I wasted no time and put up the maximum reward of 10 gold that I could afford and asked him to bring a hooded cloak, footwear, trousers, gloves, and a morning star. I could have also transferred 10% of the experience I had collected, but I didn't think that it was a good idea. 10 gold was a more than generous reward for this junk. The necromancer didn't seem to think so, however. He frowned and hesitated until I quickly moved one of the sliders, changing the single quest into a series of 3 tasks. The necromancer surrendered and waved his hand dismissively.
You've persuaded me, dead one. Wait here.
Garth Deathblade has accepted your request.
Quest? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
The sorcerer left, and I closed the system message and hid in the bushes. Waiting for the necromancer in the alleyway would have put me in danger of coming across other players, and I had no desire to die and fail to find Garth. I wasn't sure that anyone else could understand me, as necromancers were not a popular class among the players at all. When would I end up meeting another necromancer? This was why I didn't tell him my sad story immediately. People visit virtual worlds to relax, and they don't need anyone else's problems. Garth may have believed the dead man and wouldn't have refused help, but he could also tell me to go somewhere very far away. A quest was something else entirely. Quests were sacred. The necromancer returned. When the rain had Sorry, more drink.
Pour alcohol. That'll.
Especially with this voice.
Alcohol.
The necromancer returned when the rain had calmed and the wind started to gradually blow the clouds away from the city. After giving him his reward, I immediately dressed in a black robe of rough black cloth and put the hood over my head. My perception penalty decreased to 10%.
What next?
Garth asked hurriedly, staring at me intently with the red eyes of an albino. The necromancer's white hair flew in the wind, and he looked rather unfriendly. I decided that I shouldn't test the sorcerer's patience and set up the objectives of the second task.
Quest. Deliver a message. Reward. Help in the game. Help. Garth.
Garth sneered.
What could you help me with?
Command undead,
I replied and clarified.
how many ghouls are you able to take control of at a time, necromancer?
The sorcerer thought for a moment.
4 or 5, if I do them all at the same time. So what?
I'll collect 5 ghouls in one place. You'll be able to clear any dungeon around here with that sort of support.
The necromancer looked doubtful. He would usually be barely able to rely on taking control of more than one of the undead, so my offer did interest him in some ways.
What sort of message?
Garth asked at last.
And who do I need to deliver it to?
It won't take much time. Do you agree?
Garth Deathblade has accepted your task. Garth Deathblade is your temporary ally.
That was right. The marker that showed the position of the necromancer on the map glowed green.
So, what is the message?
The necromancer repeated impatiently.
Get a move on! Time is money!
Time really was valued as much as money in virtual reality, so I am burping. So I immediately wrote my message with a knife on the wet earth. I first wrote down the email address of my... attorney and then added in English, I have got stuck in the game. I can't get out. Tell the admins that the program has been hacked.
What the hell?
Garth swore as he watched my actions.
Take a screenshot, I demanded, and send it to this email address.
I don't like it.
The white-haired necromancer shook his head.
It's some sort of setup.
Just send the letter.
I'll have to quit the game.
You don't have to do it right now,
I replied, feeling like I had to agree to this inconvenient concession.
Well, if it's like that, all right, I'll do it.
Garth decided reluctantly.
Now, take me to the ghouls.
Let's go, necromancer.
And that's it. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is a silly LitRPG.
Is it?
It is. It's very silly, and I like it, to be honest. So that was The Dead Rogue. Let me spin into this vortex one more time so you guys can see this. Ah! Okay, wait a minute. Here it is. The Dead Rogue,
Okay.
Book 1, An NPC's Path, by Pavel Kornev. And I'm really surprised. Okay, so maybe I'm being racist, but when I see someone's name like that, I am and it's because of LitRPG, I think, because so much LitRPG originated from actual Russians living in Russia, writing in Russian, and then being translated so that you guys can read it. But Pavel Kornev is the author of The Dead Rogue. Let's see. Does he have any other stuff? Oh, holy shit! This dude's got like, oh my god, I want to read this stuff. Look at these covers. This looks awesome. Okay, so this guy knows what he's doing, apparently. And people seem to like his book. And if you guys thought that was interesting, go check it out. Go check it out. He's got it's 4.5 stars. Ramon rated it higher than 7. So that means go buy it, guys. Go buy it. The Dead Rogue, An NPC's Path, book number 1. That was very fun to narrate. Lori, thank you for Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
and hanging out and doing your necromancer and Siri
Oh,
voices
when am
for
I not
that one.
a necromancer?
Yeah.
Voice.
People are complimenting your necro voice actually.
Thank you. I hope it was necromantic enough for everyone.
Wait, hold on. Are you drinking Isla Scotch? Scotch. Derp.
I'm not drinking any Islay Scotch now. I made a joke about it using it to wash my windows.
Oh, I'm
I made a joke about
disappointed.
it on Dex. I was like, oh, I've just been using this Islay Scotch to wash my windows.
Yeah, it's it really is. It
Windows.
really is good for clearing your mouth up.
Now you're more of a Scotch fan. I like whiskey, but I'm not a big Scotch girl, especially like a peaty Islay sort of Scotch. I just really can't do. I would like to say that
Okay.
I love it, but I don't.
What's your Scotch? Not Scotch. What's your whiskey?
You know, I try not to discriminate. I like.
You just discriminated. You just did. You're like, I don't know about the Isla.
Yeah, I don't know. No,
Alright.
I drink a lot of Makers and
Oh yeah, Makers is good.
really because I'm living in the South now. I started drinking a lot of Slow and Low, and it's
Slow and Low. I don't even know what that is.
it's like an orangey flavored one. I think it's bourbon actually. Slow
Oh, okay. All right.
whiskey.
Well, that's forgivable. Bourbon's good.
It's a good like cheapo whiskey. I mean, it sounds like it's really like sugary, but it's like just enough orangey taste to be like delicious. I can't drink anything sugary. I don't mix anything. Like I can't do
I
it.
like how June is like peeping through a window right now, like just kind of spying on us. It's a little bit creepy. What's up, June? What are you doing in there?
You leave the creepy.
Oh, I'm still here. I just wanted to.
I just noticed you in the window.
I just wanted to
Whoa.
hang out till the end of the show. So
I think we're gonna have to take off.
All right, Lori. Well, thank you.
Bye, guys.
I'm about to end the show.
Ian.
And so Lori, thank you for coming and hanging out and narrating with us. And thank you, June, for coming and hanging out and requesting your book. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves.
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And if you guys enjoyed this stream, go subscribe to the Sound Booth Theater Live YouTube channel. After this, at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, is going to be Drunken Dice with authors and audios. I don't know why Charles Dean decided to name it that. Whatever, I'm going with it because it's his show. It's not mine. But go to the Charles Dean YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and hang out with us tonight, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be playing a role-playing game based on the Fate system, and it's going to be fun. We're just starting out, so I think we're going to be like working things out a little bit before we get started on a mini adventure. Maybe it's going to be like, I don't know, origin stories for all of our characters. I don't know exactly, but come check it out, guys. It's going to be fun. We're going to be doing it bi-weekly, I believe, on Charles Dean's channel, which means there's a good chance I'll be doing an episode in New York in a fancy hotel at the end of the month. So that'll be cool. But yeah, come join us. It'll be fun. And we're all going to be drunk. I'm already pretty wasted right now. Which is good because it's always good to pre-game for Charles Dean's podcast because it is always drinking with Charles. We always have to be drinking for his stuff. So if you guys want to come hang out with me more, come meet Charles Dean and Blaze Corvin and Dakota Crowd and Mr. Ramon Mejia himself, then you guys should definitely stay tuned. Go to the Sound Booth Theater Live Facebook group, join that, and you'll get updated on both this show and Charles Dean's shows. You'll be able to keep track of what's coming up from Sound Booth Theater, and you'll be able to find out when there's, audiobook giveaways happening randomly. So, yeah, go check out the description below if you want to find the Facebook groups of both the Gamelit Society and Sound Booth Theater Live. You'll also find links to the books that I narrated today, and that's about it. I guess there's not many people who requested audiobooks, but I'll be giving them giving them out to those people that did. So thank you guys for showing interest. Thank you guys for hanging out in the chat and everything. Thank you guys for everything. You make my life possible by watching and listening. So peace out, guys. I will see you soon.